So the NBA is smart enough not to compete with the Final Four. There's only one game on tap for Saturday night with the Final Four matchups or going up against the Final Four matchups. A couple of games on Monday, but not much today for Saturday. But there is one. Let's talk about it. Pistons, 76ers. And here's the exciting thing about it. One of these two teams has an angle that is 83% full season that's in play for tonight. And it's one of those angles that you're like, this makes sense, kind of. Let's talk about it. Right now, look at the Odds Logic live odds screen. I'm seeing Detroit -3. There are some 3.5s out there against Philadelphia. 226.5, the prevailing total. And let me start with this. All right, I'm recording this. It's just after noon Eastern time, just after 9 a.m. here on the left coast. And I do not yet have a 76ers injury report. So we don't know who Philly's going to be sitting. They're on the second of back-to-backs. They beat Minnesota last night, and a bunch of their key guys got major minutes in that ball game. To be specific, when you talk about how it's going to play out for the second of back-to-backs for Philadelphia, and again, they win by a dozen against the T-Wolves, but minute-wise for the Sixers last night, Embiid played 34, Paul George played 38, Maxey played 35. It's kind of ironic for Philadelphia, given they spent all season working on their depth and developing their depth, and now they've got the key guys back. Everyone, all their depth players are getting DNP coaches' decisions. But I would expect we'll see a little bit more depth from Philadelphia tonight, even though at this stage of the day, I don't have an injury report for the Sixers. So what do we do with that? How can I possibly do a video on the one game for tonight with Detroit and Philly when one of the teams hasn't submitted an injury report? Real simple. Let's talk about what these teams have done in these spots this year, and let's talk about the Pistons and what they can do tonight in their opportunity. Because tonight, if Detroit wins the game, they clinch the number one seed in the East, which is a big deal for a team that hasn't done that in 20 years. That said, they'll have 5 tries to do it. There's not any specific urgency tonight for Detroit. And Detroit had submitted an injury report. And there are a couple of, the surprise to me was Tobias Harris. He was a guy who's, it's not like they need Tobias Harris, but they kind of do. He's this veteran presence who makes Detroit better, even though he doesn't put up big numbers. I'd much rather have the Pistons with Harris in the lineup, even though he's not the guy's going to move the needle on from a point spread standpoint. And Detroit can play fine without him. But he's one of those veterans that in this type of spot for a team that hasn't been there before, through the clinching a number one overall seed, it does concern me that Harris is a question. But he may end up suiting up, so it may end up being no big deal. But the real issue here, when we talk about it, is what Philadelphia has been able to do on the second of back-to-backs this season. Full season. They've had 14 of these previous instances where they played without rest. The 76ers, 12-2 ATS. 86% full season playing without rest. That's an attitude. That's a coaching mentality. And that's a roster with depth. That's what it takes. So, am I going to step in front of that today? Hell no. That's the truth of it. When you see us, and for these last set of back-to-backs, teams, not many teams have another one next week. Next weekend, there'll be none. Everyone plays Friday. Everyone's off Saturday. Everyone plays game number 82 on Sunday. I believe every single team plays both Friday and Sunday next week. Every team will play Friday and Sunday. So there'll be a couple of back-to-backs the Thursday, Friday. But I think that's, there's not many back-to-backs left. And late season back-to-backs, you worry a little bit about teams being gassed. But Philadelphia right now, my arrow on the 76ers is pointed upwards. All right. I think there's money to be made with the 76ers for the rest of the regular season and potentially into the playoffs. This is a team whose full season stats doesn't equate at all with the product they're putting on the floor right now. And even if Embiid sits, even if Paul George sits, and again, this is not one to bet right now. Plain and simple, because you want to know who's playing for Philly. And I think if guys sit for Philly, you're going to be getting more than 3 points in this game. Given the powering numbers for Detroit and what Detroit can accomplish in this contest. I mean, my number for the game today, is Pistons 2.5. So it's not like that, but that's with everyone playing for Philly, even though it's the second of back-to-backs. But that's my base powering number for the ball game, Detroit 2.5. Obviously, if Philly's sitting a bunch of guys, this 3 is going to go to 4 or 5. Who knows how high it'll go? And depends on who's sitting. But my point is this: there's zero urgency to bet on the 76ers now. Closer to tip-off, I think he'll get the better number. And that's the way I'm looking in Saturday night's lone NBA matchup. Thank you so much for watching Wager Talk TV, guys. Really, we appreciate the comments. We appreciate the likes. We appreciate the follows. And we certainly appreciate all of your support, man. Stay tuned on this channel for more quality video content. And, of course, check out my homepage at wagertalk.com. You can go there direct, wt.buzz/TC. Have yourself a great Saturday. Enjoy the games, and best of luck with all your bets. We'll do it again with more free play videos. Tons on this channel, and I'll record new ones. I think Monday we'll start again with another Teddy's Tips with an NBA breakdown bright and early Monday morning. Between now and then, good luck with all your bets. Thanks for watching Wager Talk TV. Cheers.